My name is Kelly Polk. I'm the Executive Assistant to the CEO of the CNOs.
My name is Greta Worley, and I'm the Executive Director for here in Jackson County Housing and Shelter Services Program.
My name is Dawn Netherly, and I'm the Executive Director of Circles of Jackson County.
My name is Adele Carey. I volunteer and I'm just a citizen.
My name is Carter McDevitt. I am currently volunteering and in training at the Center for Domestic Peace.
Their support is very, it's heartfelt and really appreciated. Last year we did receive a grant at the end of the year. And they had a lovely ceremonial brunch where the recipients were awarded the grants. It was a lot of fun. The meetings are a lot of fun. We always enjoy the participation, when we're invited to attend. Our relationship with Rotary has been great.
We received this fiscal year $500 from Rotary. There was a short grant application to fill out, questions that I had to answer, and I also provide them with a spreadsheet of how the money was spent the previous year so they can, a check and balance so they can see that we are using the money as it has been directed for us to use.
Rotary, we receive grants from Rotary. Rotary, for the past few years, has provided the grant that allows us to have incentives for our clients as they complete steps of the program. They earn, like a job, they earn cash for completing certain steps, and Rotary has funded that for us for several years now. We have quite a few Rotary members who are also volunteers within our program that serve as mentors for our clients. It's in 4 figures. I couldn't give you much beyond that, but it is in 4 figures.
What is Rotary and what do they do? I've only been to one Rotary meeting. I'm not that familiar with the ins and outs of Rotary, but I do know that civic organization, I know they help the community. I know several people who are in Rotary, but as for the specifics, I'm so sorry. And I appreciate they giving us a grant, but I'm sure if I go through my office and ask all my office mates, they probably would give the same response.
So I see them on like flyers or maybe like around the farmer's market or stuff like that, but I've just heard of them,
When I walk the Greenway Trail, I see the Rotary Club signs there that they keep that maintenanced and that type of thing. So that's the first I knew that there was a Rotary in the area, was the signs at the Greenway walking area. Well, I mean, they do a really good job. Or whatever, with the little, birdhouses, and they maintain it. And I can tell when I walk certain days that, they had just been there.
I know that they're involved in beautification projects, trash cleanups. They have several charities that they support broader. I think Alzheimer's is one of them. And like I said, anytime you go to a community event or something is going on or something's being done to make a difference in Jackson County, some of the people there are going to be Rotarians. It's just who they are.
Well, I would say it's a community-based service organization, club or membership, very patriotic. I remember that we always do a Pledge of Allegiance, and it is neighborhood coming together, under the architecture of a civic-minded organization.
I am actually not sure what the Rotary Club is. I've always heard of Rotary Clubs in different communities. I know that they're a volunteer community and they help out, I guess, other organizations within the community, maybe connecting or something, but I really don't know.
I honestly don't know much about the Rotary Club. I've heard of the Rotary Club because I see them on like events around town, like a bridge park or stuff like this, but I don't know much about what they do.
I come from a family that has always been involved in community service and programs of that sort, so I think I've known about Rotary my whole life. And so when I moved to this community and began working this job, Rotary was one of the first programs that I knew I wanted to reach out to because I was familiar with the concept in general. Rotarians are generally business people, business and industry people who are committed to seeing their communities grow, to seeing the people in their communities cared for. They're people that, I've kind of always had the feeling that they're people who've been successful in their businesses, but they realize there's more to this world than making money. They want to make a difference and help people.
Well, it would have to be, there would have to be enough meetings held, after business hours. I definitely see it as something that I could get involved with if I ever get the opportunity to retire. Then I would definitely look for a service-based organization to work with. So in the short term, there would have to be weekend or evening memberships. And in the long term, then my days will be free. And if I'm not playing pickleball, I'll be going to Rotary.
So would I become a member of Rotary? I don't know, because again, back to my previous answer, I'm not sure of all that they do. The time that I will have to commit to that, so I can't answer that. I do know at the Rotary meeting that I attended, it was all men with only like 2 women there. So I don't know how many women they actually have in Rotary in Silva, but always it's something that I would consider, because it is a civic organization, and my role in this town is to help the community as much as I can, and I can. So yes, for that reason, it would be yes if it aligned with all of my personal beliefs.
I would actually love to. Unfortunately, I work in nonprofit and I don't make a lot of money, and the fees are a bit prohibitive for me. I just don't have the disposable income for those kinds of memberships. I would love to be a part of it. I believe in what they're doing. I've always enjoyed when I've been invited as a guest to meetings. For this particular event, I volunteered to coordinate the nonprofit groups that are here, even though I'm not a Rotarian. It's just a matter of not being able to afford the dues. If I were going to do it, I would want to be part of the Anchor Club. Being the director of my agency, being free to come to lunch meetings is not a problem. And those are the people that I know best, although we have worked with other parts of the clubs. It's just a matter of having $400 worth of expendable income per year, and it's just not something that works in my budget right now. That's all it is. It's just the money.
It would depend on, I guess, what they did, and if it was something that aligned with, my values and what I was interested in, or if I had any any place that I could help, then I would possibly volunteer. But not knowing what they do, I don't know. If it tugs at my heart, if it's something that I feel that I could be a part of, or I could be useful. And that's the main thing. If I can feel useful, I don't want to just go and help out or do something if I don't know how I'm doing. I don't know what to do, or I don't feel like my gifts could be used. So I probably wouldn't pay something right now, because I am just getting back on my feet and just volunteering my time opposed to money. And that's how I feel that I can help, is my time, where I don't really have the money to help out. I can help with fundraisers, but I don't even know.
So, well, I would try and consider joining it, mainly because, I'm not trying to sound like someone's dad, but my dad always talks about how people who are part of his generation were more joiners. It was a lot more common that you would see people trying to become members of a social group or a club, or just a group that meets every once in a while. And like I was talking about earlier, with the sense of community and the kind of in-person interaction you get with people, I think that's really important, and I think it's something that people are missing nowadays. So I would absolutely consider doing it, but even if I don't really know what it is. But specifics I would need to know before I join would be what you guys represent, or what they do, or
Yeah, I would volunteer and help with, event planning or organization. Or one of the things I'm starting to do in the community is trying to help with the graphics design for the different nonprofits. So I could help out with that. Pretty flexible. Just a matter of knowing about it, really knowing about what's going on, and being connected to find out how I can help, or what I can do, or what's going on. It's just really knowing about it. Well, probably social media is probably the best right now, but then even connecting with the other organizations in the community, and then letting their members know, with circles. That's the only way I found out about this. I literally, I was oh, it's going to be online, because I didn't know much about it. I knew Mike talked about it, and then I thought it was here, but I wasn't sure. And so last night I was well, I need to make sure about this event tomorrow, and I'm looking I'm Googling, I'm trying to find, I really couldn't find the event. And then finally, after like, I don't know how many minutes, 15 minutes, I was able to find it. So it was not very advertised. I think Facebook would be the most for the demographic of here. And I know, so like, I think how I found out about it is that it was We Love Silva, I think, or even another one, the Chamber of Commerce maybe, I don't know, but is how I found out about it, through I think either the website or Facebook. Each nonprofit has their own thing and has their own resources and help, but it doesn't seem like there's like a central something, whether it's a database, whether it's a group, but that will help when someone's either new to the area or in need. There's a family or a person in need, or whatever that is. They go to this nonprofit and they get these resources, but there's so many other resources. It's almost like it'd be great if there's like a concierge that said, okay, or like a social worker concierge that was like, okay, these are your needs. Here's all the different. And Circles kind of does that, and I'm trying to figure out what that niche was to be able to like really create something like that for someone. Like, I didn't learn about even Circles, which has been a huge help for me. I was in counseling at Meridian, and I had been in counseling for a number of months, and it wasn't until I was leaving a class at Meridian and someone was like, hey, I'll see you at Circles later or whatever to somebody, and I was like, well, what's that? And that's the only way, where I would have thought that either my therapist would have told me about it or somebody else would have told me about it, but nobody did. And it was like, what's that? So I just kind of eavesdropped to find out about Circles, and and then that shouldn't have been the case. So
I'm a big fan of any kind of aid, like any kind of social aid, any kind of group that tries to help people or advocate for people, hence my interest in the Center for Domestic Peace. So anything that's trying to help, especially smaller communities like this that are either poorer communities or more rural communities or more isolated communities, or just communities that are kind of forgotten that people don't really think about or hear about very often. If any group out there is interested in getting involved in communities like that or helping communities like that, I'm on board instantly. Because I think it's really, really important, and I think it's something people don't even hear about very much anymore. So if the Rotary Club is about helping communities like this, I'm sold. Yeah. Well, I think you hit the main reason why it's so difficult for younger people on the nose, which is the awkwardness, right? Like, when you think about the separation that people have because of phones or online this or online that or whatever, again, not to sound like someone's dad, but a lot of them don't really have any experience with just like this or going to an event like this or trying to do outreach with somebody. But I think the way you get them involved is doing stuff like this more, doing events in general more, and making sure that you at least get a couple of them out there to do it for the first time. Because I think once you do it for the first time, it opens the door, right? Like, you get this experience of being able to look people in the eye, being able to hand somebody something as opposed to just typing out a message or something. You get to feel yourself handing information to somebody or informing somebody of something or potentially helping somebody or potentially even changing someone's life,